Our government is going to extend the 350 Rand a month COVID-19 Social Relief of Distress grant up until the end of January next year. However, top-ups to social grants will come to an end at the end of November of 2020. In April, President Cyril Ramaphosa announced that there would be an extra 300 Rand in May, and between June and October, recipients would receive an additional 500 Rand each month. Now, other social grant beneficiaries, including those for pensioners, people with disabilities, war veterans, foster children and care dependents, all received an extra 250 Rand per month for the same period. Now, joining us to explain these extended benefits is SASSA spokesperson Paseka Letsatsi. Mr. Letsatsi, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Talk us through these extended benefits that were being spoken of as the finance minister made these announcements.
Good morning, Mpho, and good morning to the viewers at home as well. I think what we can simply confirm is that in terms of the directions, the 350 has been extended until January with 3 months, because remember it was supposed to end in October. But through the directions, would then be able to administer the 350 disbursement until January next year, 2021. However, I think I do not want to dwell much on the issue of the top-ups, because it's a legal matter which is before the court. And I think it will be very much dangerous for one to talk on issues which are, or matters which have been brought to the court. So I would want to appeal that in terms of the top-ups, we do not necessarily discuss them, because it's a legal matter.
As you speak to some of the administration processes, let's talk a little bit about the challenges that have been experienced during this time, especially as we speak of the 350 COVID-19 grant and the beneficiaries who were waiting eagerly for it.
Look, I think one of the most challenges that we have been facing, Mpho, is that we have people who would make an application, give us the cell phone number and the account number, and when you try to match that to an individual, we find that the information doesn't match, so the money would not definitely go through. What we have to do as an organization is to make sure that the 350 goes into the account of the correct person, because we do not necessarily want to end up giving people to those who do not deserve to get this 350. In most cases, especially those who would say, beneficiary would say that I was approved in June, but I have not got anything. We have taken it upon ourselves as an organization to make sure that we trace them. In some instances, we try to trace beneficiaries with their cell phone. We might have assumed that their cell phone is lost, but we can't get hold of them. But secondly, if you upload an ID number and one number there, it's wrong, therefore it means it's not the person that is intended to. So in some instances, we would want beneficiaries to make sure the ID number that is loaded, the account number that is loaded is correct, and the cell phone, it actually has gone through the processes of the FICA. We don't want people just to go and get a SIM card from some a bogus shop at the corner, which has been FICA'd in the name of somebody else who's not theirs, because it will talk something differently. But this we have been trying to do to make sure that we educate and interact with our beneficiaries, that please make sure that all the time when you give us the information, it's 100% correct.
And we've seen and heard of the anger and frustration of those who are still waiting to receive these grants. Let's talk about the backlog. How severe is it as we speak, especially looking at the challenges that you've just spoken to?
We have taken a decision now to make sure that we clean up everything. We concentrate specifically to the backlog, those who have not been paid for the past months and so on. But I can just say that in terms of the payment rate, we are at 99%. So those who have not been paid, the number is not that much. But obviously, we need to make sure that each and every person gets their 350. Because if you did not want the 350, you would not have applied. So we must put all the stops to make sure that people get paid. What we have also done, we have asked other colleagues at head office and in our regions to make sure that we concentrate and focus specifically on those people who have not been paid. We have even requested the regions to trace these people, because in some instances we have called, we have tried all other methods to get in touch with them, but we need to go an extra mile to make sure that we reach out to them, we get hold of them and ask what we need to correct in the system and so on. But beneficiaries also, Mpho, have the right to change the method of payment. In some instances, we will find that a person does not have an account. We understand. We say there is post office. We have also introduced the mobile money. So it's according to the beneficiary to choose which kind of method they would want to pay. But if you change, we are also requesting that don't change too much. On Monday you change, you say it's your bank account. On Wednesday you change, you say you want to get it from post office and so on, and you say you want mobile official who want to get their money at the platform which they want to use. But we have done everything in our power to make sure that we move and ensure that we trace all these numbers which have been in the backlog to make sure that everybody gets paid in the month end of November.
And in terms of numbers, how much is the backlog in terms of how many people are still waiting to get their monies? And also, very quickly, I'm going to squeeze in this question. There's been a lot of challenges over the years over fake SMSs and people saying that they receive these messages to collect money and it's not there, and having to disclose their personal information. So in terms of the systems, how much have you streamlined your systems to become more efficient?
The first one, I think in May, we must have been about 1,000 people, but it kept on moving in June to about 5,000. It moved to about 10,000 and so on. But those numbers, we have them just to make sure that we sort them out. On the issue of the fake news, Mpho, the unfortunate part of it is that South African Social Security Agency, we are part of the society, and I think fake news are some things which happen on a daily basis. What we have basically do, we have just had an interaction with our legal team, because we have seen that after a week or second week, people just post something which is not factual and we must respond to it. We basically become reactive. So we have taken a decision, a very tough decision, and we are just trying to sort out with our legal team to make sure that we actually follow up on these people, because we can be able to trace who is doing this thing. So we just want to make sure that an example is made, and I think we must teach people a lesson that when they are bored at home or wherever they are, they must not mislead the public. So we think very soon, together with our legal team, would then be able to teach one or two people a lesson that it's not necessary that when you are bored, you must then mislead the South African public.
And very quickly, Paseka, we've seen over the years the complaints of SASSA employees being some of them who are instigating some of the fraud and people not receiving their funds as they should. To date, have any arrests been made or perhaps pending investigations internally when it comes to some of those employees, pardon me?
No, Mpho. I mean, for someone of the public to crack in our system, in some instances, you would need the cooperation from Paseka to be able to help you and play into the system. But we can proudly say there are those people we attended to. Some of them were convicted in the Eastern Cape. Some of them were arrested in Mpumalanga. We found that there were syndicates together with some of the staff members. But we can safely say that the success rate has been very high in terms of the conviction. But we can proudly say as an organization that the majority of the South African Social Security Agency employees are law-abiding citizens, and that matter makes us very happy. It's just those rotten apples, and we have been able to go after them, and some of them have been convicted.
Very well. Thank you so much for your time. SASSA spokesperson Paseka Letsatsi, they're giving us a sense and some reaction as the COVID-19 grant has now been extended to January.